first, let me introduce what is the immune system. So according to our PPT, the immune system is the human body's first line of defense against invaders from the external world, like pathogens and harmful substances that could harm the body and disrupt homeostasis or the balance of the internal environment. So, the immune system ay siya yung nagproprotect sa katawan natin from harmful bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens that can cause our bodies to be ill, like to have those kind of diseases that would be harmful for our bodies.
Functions of the immune system. The first function of the immune system is keeping outsiders or invaders or pathogens, which are harmful foreign substances, out of our body and limits their entrance. Now we have an internal environment, which is the environment inside of our body. This environment is very delicate, meaning it can be damaged easily, and we have to protect our internal environment at all costs, because if something goes wrong within our internal environment, then we cannot function properly. We also have an external environment, which is the environment outside of our body, or everything around us, everything we see, touch, smell, whatever. Those are part of our external environment. Substances from our external environment can actually get inside our body and cause damage or harm. The immune system functions as a way to prevent that from happening, because they keep those external substances out of our body and limit their entrance. Because the immune system is not 100% perfect, so those external substances can still get inside our body, but the immune system tries its best to limit their entrance. So before a pathogen or whatever it is from the outside or from the external environment enters our body, they try to destroy it. In our skin, there are actually cells that are called the Langerhans cells, the skin's immune soldiers. They destroy pathogens that try to enter our body through our skin. The second function of the immune system is destroying harmful substances or pathogens that have entered our body. Like I said a while ago, the immune system is not 100% perfect, so it can't prevent all pathogens coming in our body. So that's why some still get inside, some can still get inside our body and damage our body. The immune system tries to destroy them if they have already entered the body. They send out cells called white blood cells to destroy these pathogens. Later on, we're going to talk about white blood cells, but remember that white blood cells are one of the things that the immune system sends out to destroy these invaders or pathogens. The third function of our immune system is that it heals damage in the body. For example, when you have cuts, damaged cells, carcinoma, infection caused damage, and etc. Carcinoma is cancer, right? And we actually have cancer cells all over our body. The immune system destroys them. When it gets triggered, then it becomes problematic because we're gonna develop cancer. Also, when you have wounds on your skin or inside your body, when you have some sort of damage inside your body or on your skin, like your skin got cut or you have abrasions, the immune system tries to fix it. When you have wounds on your skin, you're actually more susceptible to infection because bacteria could get inside your wound or inside your body through the cut on your skin. And now the immune system protects you by sending out white blood cells and other substances that help heal these wounds and destroy bacteria or any pathogens that have gone inside your wound. And also, when you have damage inside your body, it tries to fix that too. And especially when there is an infection going on, they fight off these infections and keep you healthy. The fourth function of the immune system is helping our body adapt to changes and harm. If something gets inside our body, or if a pathogen or an external substance is introduced to our body, it undergoes changes. First one, the most obvious change is the immune system trying to get rid of it, right? But sometimes it gets worse if the immune system cannot do that or fails to do that, and these substances have already destroyed our body. The immune system still tries to help us by sending out signals to our brain that will allow our body to adapt to these changes. For example, a person who smokes, this person is introducing harmful substances or external substances from the external world in his system. Specifically, he is destroying his lungs or the respiratory system, which has an effect also to other parts of his body. his lungs may undergo changes, and these are really bad changes, and his immune system tries to help his body adapt to these changes. But of course, if it gets worse, if that person doesn't stop smoking at all, then there will come a point where the immune system may not be or may not be able to keep up with these changes. It will be so much difficult for the immune system to help us if we don't minimize the intake of these harmful substances.
So, hello everyone, I am Sheena Emma Mukat, and now let's proceed to the white blood cells. So, white blood cells that attack and eliminate harmful germs, and there are many types of white blood cells, and each has a specific task. Each type has a different way of recognizing the problem and communicating with other cells to perform their job. So when we say white blood cells are the key components of the immune system that protects our body from the infections, disease, and foreign invaders. So there's so many types of white blood cells, which is the neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, lymphocytes, and monocytes, and each has a specific role in defending our body.
So let me introduce to you the 5 types of white blood cells. Let us first start with the neutrophils. It is the most abundant white blood cells among these 5. They also engulf bacteria through phagocytosis and release antimicrobial chemicals. They are crucial for controlling bacterial infection. Next, we have lymphocytes. This type of white blood cells are responsible for specific immunities. There are 3 main types: T cells, B cells, and K cells or the natural killer cells. So later on, i-explain ko po kung sino si B cells at kung sino naman si T cells.
So, the third types of white blood cell is the eosinophils. It identifies and destroys parasites, cancer cells, and assists basophils with your allergic response. So, the main purpose of eosinophil is to destroy parasites. So, when a parasite enters the body, it usually destroys the outer layer of the parasite slowly but surely. And so, sometimes, although helpful yung eosinophils sa katawan ng isang tao, it can be overstimulated to the point na dinidestroy na yung tissue ng isang tao. So, eosinophil help in parasite defense and controlling infections. But sometimes, the immune system gets overstimulated and eosinophils are recruited too much or activated inappropriately. So, sometimes kasi nag-release yung katawan natin ng yung eosinophils ng toxic granules. Yung toxic granules na yan yung rason kung bakit nasisira yung tissue natin. Pero yung tissue natin is caused din naman yan siya ng mga asthma, allergies. That's why na-mistake ng eosinophils na threat yung mga tissue natin, na mistaken niya as a threat, kaya sinisira niya din. Pero helpful talaga yung eosinophils. So the fourth type of white blood cells is the basophils. It produces an allergic response like coughing, sneezing, or a runny nose. Basophils are rare type of white blood cells because it only contains like 1% of the white blood cells. It fights along with the eosinophils because 2 of them fights parasites together. Yung basophil, it acts like a chemical messenger. Kapag nagkaroon ka ng allergy, siya yung rason kung bakit if mag-allergy ka, nagkaroon ka ng mga redness sa skin mo, umuubo ka, nangangatay yung katawan mo. Kasi siya yung rason kung bakit parang nagsisend siya ng help or tulong sa mga other types of white blood cell para tulungan na i-fight yung pathogens or yung virus na nandoon sa loob ng katawan mo. So, the last type of white blood cells is the monocytes. It defends against infection by cleaning up damaged cells. Si monocytes, it acts like a cleaning crew of the WBC. siya yung naglilinis ng mga mess ng mga other WBC after nila i-fight yung mga pathogens and viruses na nag-enter sa katawan natin.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ayesha Sarah Yumanunggal, and my part is to explain the T cells and B cells. But first, let us know where it came from. Immune system is divided into two parts, the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system. Adaptive immune system is divided into three groups, one macrophages and two lymphocytes. So yung two lymphocytes na po yun na po si T cells and B cells. So let me explain the T cells first. T cells, also known as mediate cellular immunity or cell-mediate response. This T cells is located in thymus gland and its use is to or response is to directly kill the pathogens. So since nabanggit ko si pathogens, sino naman si pathogens? Pathogens is the viruses or bacteria that invades our bodies that makes us sick or being ill. So now let us proceed to B cells. B cells, also known as mediate humoral immunity. Humoral comes from the word humor, which is fluids of the body. Si B cells naman is located in bone marrow, and B cells is secreted antibodies. Ano naman ang antibodies? Antibodies is the one that they are the proteins that able to bind bacteria and viruses. B cells is differentiate into two parts, plasma cells and memory cells. Plasma cells is the one that produces antibodies which neutralize pathogens, while memory cells provide a long-term immunity.
Antibodies, proteins that protect you from invaders, bind to invaders and initiate their destruction. Antibodies are special proteins made by your body's immune system to help fight germs like bacteria and viruses.
Let's talk about the differences between an antigen and an antibody. An antigen is any foreign substance that triggers an immune response. Like I said earlier, we have an internal environment, which is the inside of our body, and an external environment, which is the environment outside of our body, so everything around us. An antigen is anything that comes from an external environment that goes into our body and may or may not cause harm. It triggers an immune response. Why? Because the body doesn't recognize antigens as its own. And that's why it sends out signals to the brain, it sends out immune cells, which tries to identify whether this antigen is harmful or not. And if it is, then it destroys this antigen. An antigen is called an antibody generator because antigens are the reason why the body releases antibodies. We're going to talk about antibodies in a while, but you just have to remember that phrase. Antigens are antibody generators. Antigens may cause diseases. Examples of antigens that do this are bacteria, fungi, and allergens, or pathogens. But not all antigens are pathogens. So for example, food, those are antigens because those are things that gets inside our body from the outside. So food comes from an external environment. Some people actually have food allergies, and this triggers an immune response as well. Also proteins, pollen, and dust components. Dust components are small particles in the air that gets inside our body. Another example of this is organ transplant. Your body may actually reject organ transplants because it might not be compatible with that organ. It is because the immune system recognizes that organ as an external object that doesn't belong to your body. And that's why some organ transplants fail. It's because their body rejects it, or the immune system rejects it. An antibody, on the other hand, is responsible for immunity against pathogens. So if the antigen is the object from the external environment that goes inside our body, antibodies are the ones that destroy these antigens if they are harmful. So for example, pathogens. Pathogens are harmful substances from the outside environment, and antibodies are the one responsible for destroying them. Antibodies is also called immunoglobulin. B cells produce antibodies. It's been discussed earlier in this video that B cells are a type of blood cells, and they are primarily responsible for immunity. Why is that? Antibodies kill harmful antigens that enter the body or blocks them from entering healthy cells. This happens because there's actually what we call a lock and key mechanism. An antigen and an antibody has complementary shapes, which allows them to perfectly fit into each other. You think of them as a lock and key. If this is an antigen, as soon as the immune system recognizes this antigen, it sends out signals which allows the B cells to produce antibodies, and these antibodies bind with the antigen, sort of like tagging it so that other immune cells recognize it as a threat and therefore they can destroy it. This is also really important because if an antibody binds to an antigen, it prevents them from entering the cells or perform their functions. It's the reason why we become immune to diseases. It's because when antibodies bind with antigen, this process creates memory cells, which allows our immune system to remember or recall or take note of that specific antigen. And so in the future, when that same antigen enters the body, we will have a faster and stronger immune response because the body already recognized that antigen before. To remember it faster, you can think of an antibody as something that is produced by the body. It's in the word itself. And an antigen is something that is from outside of the body.
Cytokines. Cytokines are the body communication system for the immune team, guiding them to protect and heal you. Chemical messenger protein. Cytokines are tiny proteins that act like messenger in our body. Tells your immune cells where to go. So imagine them as a text message or a signal sent between your immune system to tell where to go and what to do once they get there. It is very important because your immune cells need a clearly instruction to fight infections. Has a different types and different tasks. So there's so many types of cytokines and each type has its own specific job. Example, some cytokines help control inflammation. Inflammation is what's happened when your body reacts to the things like germs and injury. So, cytokines help organize your immune system response by sending the right signals at the right time. Without the cytokines, your immune cells wouldn't know where to go and what to do or how to work together. And your body will struggle to stay healthy. And your body will have a hard time to defending itself.
Ang complement system ay parang backup team ng immune system. aka complement cascade, tinatawag na cascade kasi sunod-sunod ang mga reaction niya na parang domino effect. A group of proteins that teams up with other cells in the body to defend against invaders and promote healing from an injury or infection. Isipin mo sila na parang special forces ng katawan na laging handang tumulong sa white blood cells. Enhance the ability of antibodies to eliminate microbes and damaged cells. Kapag may mikrobyo, tinutulungan ng complement proteins ang antibodies para mas mabilis maalis ang mga germs at damaged cells. Promotes inflammation. Kapag may sugat o infection, nagpapadala sila ng signal para dumating agad ang immune cells at labanan ang infection. Attack pathogen cells, membranes. Kaya nilang butasin o sirain ang balat ng mikrobyo para mamatay ito.
Lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are small structures that are part of our lymphatic system, which is the key part of immune system. They act like a filters for lymph, a clear fluid that circulates throughout of our body, trapping harmful substances like bacteria, viruses, and cancer cells. Lymph nodes are scattered throughout of our body, particularly in areas of the neck and abdomen. When the body is fighting an infection, lymph nodes can become swollen because they are working to filter out these invaders and produce more immune cells. In short, lymph nodes help the immune system recognize and respond to threats, keeping the body safe from infections and diseases.
Spleen. Spleen stores white blood cells, filters the blood, recycling old and damaged red blood cells to make new ones. The spleen is like a gatekeeper of our blood. It keeps the blood by removing old and damaged blood. It finds germs like bacteria, viruses, and it makes white blood cells to fight infections. It also keeps extra blood and platelets that can be used when there is an injury or sudden bleeding. Example nito is kapag naglalaro ka ng volleyball, then nagkaroon ka ng scratch accidentally, that small wound can let bacteria enter to your bloodstream. The spleen immediately acts like a checkpoint kasi chine-check niya yung dugo mo for any harmful. Kapag may nakita siyang bacteria, it activates lymphocytes and macrophages to attack and destroy them. At the same time, tinatanggal niya yung mga old and damaged blood cells para malinis ang circulation ng blood mo. The quick action prevents the bacteria from spreading and keeps you healthy.
So now we will proceed to the tonsils and adenoids. Tonsils found in the back of our throat, and adenoids are hide behind our nose. So what is their job? So the tonsils and adenoids, they work like a guard or filters at the body's entrance. So when we breathe air or kapag kumain tayo ng foods, maaring makapasok yung germs through our nose and mouth. So the tonsils and adenoids, they act like a guard at the body's entrance para masalo or mahuli yung germs na papasok sa katawan natin. So the tonsils catch the germs that enter through our throat and mouth, and the adenoids catch the germs that entered through our nose and upper hide.
So for this part naman, I'm going to explain thymus. Actually, na-explain na ito ng group 1 because thymus gland is a part of lymphatic system, but it also have a crucial part in our immunity development topic namin. Thymus is located behind sternum. It is a small organ that assays T cells and they matured before they travel everywhere else in our body to protect us.
Bone marrow. Bone marrow is a soft tissue found inside our bones. It is very important because it makes blood cells. These blood cells include red blood cells, which carry oxygen, white blood cells, which fight infections, and platelets, which help stop bleeding. Without a healthy bone marrow, our bodies would struggle to stay healthy. In short, bone marrow is like blood cells factory inside our bones, working every day to make cells that keep us alive and healthy.
So next is the skin. So the skin, a protective barrier that stops germs from entering the body, produces us and releases immune system cells, and there are antibiotics in the skin. So when we say skin, the skin serves as the body first line of defense in the immune system. So skin is the largest organ of our body, and skin protect us from the sunlight and harmful germs. So we have 3 layers of skin, which is the epidermis, the inner layer, dermis, the middle layer, and the hypodermis is the innermost layer.
3 layer, the membrane that lines body cavities and organs. Secretes mucus that trap pathogens, germs that your body then clear out. Mucosa lines the inside of organs and cavities throughout your body that are exposed to particles from the outside. The mucous membrane lubricates and protects these organs and cavities from abrasive particles and bodily fluids, as well as invasive pathogens.
Weak or overreactive immune system. Weak immune system is our body defense mechanisms against harmful invaders like bacteria, viruses, and the immune system consists of various organs, cells, and proteins that work together to protect the body. An overreactive immune system is a condition where the immune system is too active or hyper-responsive, and instead of just fighting off harmful invaders, it can mistakenly attack the body's own tissues or overreact to harmless substances. In short, weak immune system, the body defense system is too weak to fight infection properly. This increases the risk of getting sick. Overprotective immune system, the body defense system is too aggressive, causing harm to itself
or overreacting to harmless substances. Both of a weak or overreactive immune system can have a serious health implications, but they manifest in different ways.
Immune disorders happen when the immune system doesn't work that way it should. Normally, your immune system protects you from infections, but in immune disorders, it may be too weak, too strong, or misdirected. Here are the main causes.
So the first example of an immune disorder is an HIV. So what is an HIV? HIV is a human immunodeficiency virus. It is a virus that attacks cells that help the body fight infection, making a person more vulnerable to other infection and diseases. It is spread by contact with certainly bodily fluids or of a person with HIV, most commonly during unprotected sex or sex without condoms and other protected barrier for sex, saliva, and other bodily fluids like blood, transfusion of blood. So, bakit nga ba autoimmune yung HIV? It is immune disorder because it fights the cells of our body. Kung parang fina-fight niya yung, parang sinisira niya yung healthy cells ng katawan natin, making us more weak day by day.
So my last part is I'm going to explain the leukemia and lymphoma. What is the difference between the two of them and what is their common traits? Leukemia and lymphoma is actually both originated in lymphocytes, coming from lymphocytes. They also shared common symptoms like fatigue, pagkahilo, weaknesses, unexplained weight loss, bone pain, and many more. And their treatment are also alike, like chemotherapy, radiation therapy, immunotherapy, or bone marrow transplant. So ano naman po ang pinagkaiba nila? Leukemia is a cancer of the bone marrow and blood that involves abnormal white blood cells flowing through the bloodstream, while lymphoma is a cancer of the lymphatic system where cancerous lymphocytes form solid tumors. So the main difference between these two cancers is that leukemia is a primary liquid tumor in the blood, while lymphoma is a solid tumor in the lymph nodes. That's the end of my part. Thank you so much.
Another example of an immune disorder is an allergy. Allergies happen when the immune system reacts to a foreign substance that gets inside the body. These substances are known as allergens. They include pollen, bee venom, and pet dander. Allergens also can happen due to certain foods and medicines that don't cause reactions in most people. So if you have an allergy to that food or that medication, it will trigger an immune response. It will cause reaction, but for most people, they aren't affected by it. I first learned about this when I got into a motorcycle road accident a few weeks ago. Because of my wounds, I had to have an anti-tetanus shot, and I found out that I'm actually allergic to this medication because I started to have hives and swelling all over my body. My skin was really itchy. I was also sweating profusely. It felt hot. A drug for that allergy was administered afterwards. What's confusing to me was it was my dad, who is a nurse. He was the one who administered the anti-tetanus shot, and during the skin test, there was no problem at all. So it wasn't detected immediately. Dad left. Minutes later, I started to have the first symptoms. It wasn't detected during the skin test. That's why it got worse to a point where I became really restless. An allergy could be fatal, by the way. The immune system makes protective proteins called antibodies that attack invaders such as germs or pathogens. But with allergies, the immune system makes antibodies that mark a specific allergen as harmful even though it isn't. Coming into contact with the allergen causes an immune system reaction that can inflame the skin, sinuses, airways, or digestive system. Even though an antigen isn't really harmful, the immune system mistakes it and attacks it, and that's what causes allergies. Allergic reactions vary from person to person. They can range from minor irritation, like what I said earlier, I started to have skin irritation, to a life-threatening emergency called anaphylaxis. Anaphylaxis is a serious, potentially fatal allergic reaction and medical emergency that is rapid in onset and requires immediate medical attention, regardless of the availability of on-site treatments while not under medical care. So symptoms include skin reactions like hives and swelling, breathing difficulties such as wheezing, and throat tightness, and circulatory problems like a rapid pulse, dizziness, low blood pressure leading to fainting or shock.
So the last example of an immune disorder is an autoimmune disease. So what is an autoimmune disease? It is a health condition that happens when your immune system attacks your body instead of defending it. Healthcare providers sometimes call them autoimmune disorder. Usually, your immune system is like your body's built-in security system. It automatically detects substances that shouldn't be in your body, like viruses, bacteria, or toxins, and sends out white blood cells to fight them and eliminate them before it can damage your body or make you sick. So, autoimmune diseases are chronic condition. This means if you have an autoimmune disease, you'll probably have to manage it and the symptoms it causes for the rest of your life.